Hi folks, today I'm going to be talking about how you can get cloud gaming on Google Cloud Platform using Moonlight, which is a high quality cloud gaming software. I have a written tutorial on this that I'll link in the description and you can follow along if you'd like. First things first, you'll want to create a Google Cloud Platform account. To do that, you can visit cloud.google.com/free and then click on this button right here, Get Started for Free, and then follow along with the prompts to create your account. Once you've created your free trial account, the first thing you want to do is upgrade it to a paid account. To do that, you want to search billing up here, navigate to the billing page, and then on this page you should have a tile called free trial credit. I don't have it on my screen because I've already upgraded my account, but there should be a tile called free trial credit, and on that tile should be a button that says upgrade. Click that button. It should upgrade your free trial account to a paid account, and know that the $300 of free trial credit that you have unused should roll over onto your paid account. With your upgraded account, you can now increase quotas. So to do that, I'm going to search quotas, navigate to all quotas, and then there are two quotas that we want to focus on increasing. That's GPUs, all regions, under the Compute Engine API service, as well as NVIDIA T4 GPUs, also under the Compute Engine API service. So firstly, we go to GPUs, all regions, click on quotas, select global, and now I already have my limit set to 1. You should have it set to 0 by default. You'd want to click edit quotas up here and then enter the necessary information. I'll do that and come back in a second. Then with the necessary information entered, you want to request a new limit, entering 1 here, and the reason for your limit, Cloud Gaming PC, that's a perfectly fine description, and then you'd hit submit request. Back on the quotas page, we're now going to increase the limit for NVIDIA T4 GPUs. Click on all quotas, and now you'll see, different from GPUs all regions where there was only the global location, there are a number of locations listed here. To figure out which is the best location for you, I'd recommend Googling regions and zones on Google Cloud Platform and reading where these locations and regions listed actually correspond to by city and such. So for me, I have US Central as the region where I have my GPU available. That's because I'm in Michigan and this is the closest location geographically, but for somebody else it may vary by their own location. So now, knowing my location, I'm going to follow the same steps I did with GPUs all regions. I'm going to select the location, I'm going to press edit quotas, and then I'm going to request a new limit. My limit here is already 1 because I've already had my initial request approved, but here you'd be requesting a limit of 1 from the default of 0, and then your request description similarly, Cloud Gaming PC, anything along those lines would be okay, and then I would submit the request. With my quotas for GPUs all regions and NVIDIA T4 GPUs approved, I can now start creating my VM instance. To do this, I'm going to Google NVIDIA Gaming PC, GCP. I'm going to click this first link. It's going to bring me to the marketplace. And then I'm going to hit launch on the NVIDIA Gaming PC Windows Server 2019. I'm also going to select the project that I want this VM instance to be launched under. That should be the same project that I increase the quotas on. And then I'm going to fill out the configurations for this gaming PC. To configure this machine, I'm going to give it a name, Moonlight Gaming PC. I'm also going to select the zone, and this zone should be the same location that the NVIDIA T4 GPU quota was increased under. In my case, that was US Central, so I'm going to select US Central 1F, and then I'm going to configure the machine type, And it's critical that the machine type here, under the memory type, you select a preset that says N1. And it's only the N1 machine types that have GPUs available. If you select N2D, E2, C2, none of those will allow you to provision a GPU to your machine. Additionally, I'm going to configure the boot disk of my machine. By default, the boot disk type is standard persistent disk, and the boot disk size is 50 gigabytes. I want to get something a little bit faster and larger than that, so I'm going to select the SSD persistent disk, and I'm going to increase the size to 250 gigabytes. 250 gigabytes is the default maximum SSD size that I can choose. If I want to go larger than this, I would have to request a quota increase. But in my case, I'm okay with 250 gigabytes at the moment. And with these options selected, I'm done configuring my gaming PC, and I can now hit deploy. With my gaming PC deploying right now, I can navigate to it, Compute Engine, VM Instances, and I can see it starting up here. So now I'll wait a little bit for it to finish provisioning, and then we'll be able to connect to it. While the Moonlight instance is being provisioned, I'm actually going to navigate to Firewall under VPC Network. You can see I've already navigated here. And I'm going to create a Firewall Rule. The reason for doing this is that by default, the ports that Moonlight needs in order to function are blocked by our firewall on GCP. So what we're going to do is simply allow those ports to open and Moonlight to communicate with the client on a local machine. I'm going to give a name to my firewall rule. I'll call it Moonlight. And then I'm going to give it a target tag. This target tag is the same tag I'll be using under network tags for the VM instance. Then I'm also going to give it source IP ranges, right, 0, 0, 0, 0, /0. And I'm going to check TCP and UDP under specified protocols and ports. I'm going to copy the specified protocols and ports from the Medium article that I have linked in the description. These are the TCP ports, and these are the UDP ports, and these are the ports that are necessary to be open for Moonlight to function. Then I'm going to create the rule. With my firewall rule created, I'm going to go back to VM instances. I imagine that my instance has been provisioned by now. Yep, it has. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to add my tag that I've just created on the firewall rule to the network tags of this instance. So I'll click edit up here. Then I'm going to scroll down to network tags, and I'm going to write Moonlight. This was the same as the target tag that I wrote on my firewall rule. And I'm just going to save this. And it seems like that's saved now. And so I can get started on connecting to my machine. To connect to the gaming PC, I'm getting an application called Remote Desktop. You can download this for free on the App Store if you're using an Apple device. I imagine it's free on most of the platforms. And this is going to be necessary for accessing our remote desktop via an RDP file. But firstly, we'll want to select on our VM instance under the connect column, set Windows password. This is the username for the Windows account. You just hit set, and it'll provide us with the password. Now, having been given this password, I'm going to copy it and save it in a file because I'll be reusing it later. With my password saved, I'm going to download the RDP file. Click on RDP under Connect, download the RDP file, save the file, and I'm going to open Remote Desktop. And I'm going to delete an old PC I have on here and add the new RDP file which is going to give me this new connection. I'm going to double click on the connection, and it's going to tell me if I trust the certificate. Yes, I do. And then I'll be prompted to enter the password I was just provided. So I'll do that now. With the password entered, I'm going to hit continue, and this should connect me to my new machine. Awesome. So now we can get started configuring our new Windows machine to get ready to stream games via Moonlight. The first thing we'll want to do is configure some options in Server Manager. Firstly, I'm going to click Manage up here and Server Manager Properties. I'm going to select Do Not Start Server Manager automatically and log on, because once I'm done configuring Server Manager, I won't need this opening up every time I log into the machine. Then I'm going to click Add Roles and Features. There's a feature that's necessary for GeForce Experience to work, and GeForce Experience is a necessary prerequisite for Moonlight to work. It acts as a host on our remote machine. Going through here, I get to the Features tab. I scroll down and select Wireless LAN Service. This is a feature that we need. Hit Next. I'm going to check Restart the destination server automatically if required. I'm going to allow automatic restarts, and then I'm going to press Install. And now I'm going to wait for this feature to install. I expect that the computer will restart and I'll be kicked off of remote desktop at some point. As you can see, I've just been kicked off of remote desktop, and now I'm going to wait a few moments while the machine restarts before I try to connect to it again. Alright, it's been a few minutes, and now I'm going to try to reconnect to my gaming PC. I trust the certificate, enter the password, press continue, and great, it looks like it's working. So I've reconnected to my gaming PC. The next step here is to run an open source Parsec script. This is going to configure the machine as a cloud gaming machine for Parsec, which is going to help us in configuring it as a cloud gaming machine for Moonlight. So I'm going to open Firefox. I'm going to, not now, I'm going to search Parsec GitHub Cloud Gaming. Ooh, it's a misspell. And I'm going to click Parsec Cloud Preparation Tool. And I'm going to scroll down to Instructions, and down here I'm going to copy this section and run it in Windows PowerShell. I'm just going to paste it right in and hit enter. And what this is going to do is it's going to download a number of resources necessary for streaming over the cloud. That's going to involve some audio and video drivers, as well as a few other resources. And this is going to make the setup process a lot simpler. So this script is a big aid. Additionally, this first prompt, do you want this computer to log on to Windows automatically? I think you should answer yes to this. It means that the machine can automatically log on for you without prompting you every time for a password. In here, you want to write the account username. In that case, for me, it's johnragoni123. And then you'll want to enter the password that you use to connect to the machine over a remote desktop. This is the same password that's used to access the account. I'm going to copy that now. Okay, with that password copied, I'm going to hit OK. And everything should continue smoothly. The next prompt I expect to see is asking me whether I want to download a video driver. That'll come in a little bit. First it has to run a number of installations. But when I see that prompt, I'm going to say no to it because the NVIDIA Gaming PC is already up to date with its video drivers, so it won't be necessary to try to download a newer driver. Okay, here the automatic downloads and installations have finished. I can see here this is Razer Synapse account prompt. I can just close out of this, that's no worry. This is a GPU prompt I was mentioning earlier. Because our driver's already up to date, I'm going to say no to this and exit. Now I can see Parsec is open. What I'm going to want to do is enter email and password and sign to the account here, and I'll check back once I copy this information in. Alright, I've entered my information. I'm going to hit login, and now I've opened Parsec, close out of this. If I reload here, it shows the computer that I'm on, NV Windows Serve. I can hit share. So what this does is it shares my monitor to any Parsec clients that I have open. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my local machine, I'm going to open Parsec, and then I'm going to try to connect to this machine through Parsec from this connection I've just shared. So I'm going to my local machine, I'm going to open Parsec, and I hit connect. And now I can see here that through this connection that I've just opened by hitting share, I am connected to my remote machine through Parsec. And with this connection open, I can actually close my remote desktop connection. I won't be needing to use that anymore. Alright, now I'm set up to stream games with Parsec at the moment, but that's not what this tutorial is about. This is about streaming games with Moonlight. So from here, what we're going to want to do is run another script. And this is a script that's going to download GeForce Experience for us, and it's going to enable us to use Game Stream, which is a feature of GeForce Experience, on a cloud GPU. This is not normally supposed to work. Usually Game Stream is meant for GTX series GPUs, but of course we have a T4 GPU, which isn't meant to work, but this script employs a bit of a hack that will allow us to use GeForce Experience with Game Stream. To download the script, I'm going to search Acceleration 3, GitHub, Game Stream. I'm going to click on Acceleration 3 Cloud Game Stream, and I'm going to scroll down to Installation. And rather than copying and pasting these commands, I'm actually going to download the script here because I'm going to want to modify some of the files. So I'm going to open this downloaded zip file. Here I can see it in downloads. So I'll go out here, go to extract the zip file into downloads. Now I navigate to Cloud Game Stream Master and Steps, and I want to open one install requirements.ps1 in text editor. Here's this notepad. I want to delete everything from if install video to the end of the file. So you can see right here, this is about in the middle of the script. I'm going to highlight this here and scroll down to the bottom and delete. And now I'm going to save the file. This will get around a bit of a bug that I've been having using this script, and some other people have been experiencing it as well. So hopefully this will allow the script to work. To run the script, I'm going to open this directory in PowerShell and run setup.ps1. That should run through all of the step scripts in here. So to open PowerShell, I'm going to type PowerShell into the search bar, Windows PowerShell here. I'm going to right click, hit Run as Administrator. Yes. And then from here I'm going to navigate to that Downloads folder. I'm going to go to Users, Myself, Downloads, Cloud Game Stream. And the folder Cloud Game Stream Master, there's actually another Cloud Game Stream folder within it. So I have to navigate within there. And then you should see, yep, that I'm in this same folder in File Explorer. Now inside this folder, I'm going to run setup.ps1 and I'm going to run that with the execution policy set to unrestricted. So I'm going to type set execution policy unrestricted / setup.ps1. And now this is going to prompt me about changing the execution policy. I want to say yes to all, which I do by pressing A, enter. Run only scripts that you trust. I'm going to press R, run once. It's going to start running the game stream preparation tool script. I'm going to press R to run the first part of the script. It's going to ask me if I want to install vCable, which is an audio driver. Because the Parsec script already installed the audio driver, Razor, I'm going to say no to this. It's going to ask me if I need NVIDIA grid drivers. I'm also going to say no to this as our video drivers are up to date. And now it's going to download and install GeForce Experience. It's also going to install some other packages as well. With that first step finished, it's going to move on to step 2, patching GeForce Experience. This is what's going to allow us to use the T4 GPU with GameStream. So I'm going to press R, run once. And I'm going to do a similar thing for the rest of the steps here. Just pressing R, run once. Now at the end of the steps, it's going to prompt me to restart the machine. It's going to say, would you like to restart now? I'm going to say yes to that. And I'll be disconnected from my Parsec stream the moment that I do that. And so right about now I lose connection to the Parsec stream as the machine starts to restart. Yep, you can see your network seems to be slow. Please stand by. So I'm going to disconnect. Now that I'm disconnected from my machine and I know that it's restarting, I'm just going to wait a little bit as I did before with remote desktop and give it a few minutes and then try to reconnect to the machine. Okay, now the machine appears to have restarted. I have the option to connect to it again in Parsec, so I'm going to hit connect. And here you can see I have GeForce Experience installed on my machine. At this point, the remote machine is set up the same way that an in-home personal PC would be set up if you were trying to get it ready to use Parsec. As you won't find any issues with GeForce Experience saying that GameStream won't run or anything like that. And at this point, it's really just about following the Moonlight Setup guides. So we're going to open GeForce Experience and log in. I'm going to put in my credentials. I'll be back in a second. Now with my credentials entered and myself logged in, press continue and get through those menus. I'm going to go to the settings up here by clicking on the skier icon. And I can see there's a shield tab. I want to click on that and enable game stream. And in here there's this games and apps section. While I don't have any games installed yet, I do want to add an app that Moonlight says to add in order to stream the virtual desktop, which can be a useful feature. So I'm going to navigate to the base level, the PC, and local disk. I want to go to Windows. Then I want to go to System 32. And then I want to scroll until I find mstsc.exe. And this is an executable that Moonlight suggests you should add in order to stream the remote desktop. I'm going to hit open. And with that, it's been added into GeForce Experience as an app. And I'm going to move on to performing the Moonlight installation steps. To install Moonlight, I'm going to first want to install the Moonlight Internet Hosting Tool, which I can find at their GitHub. So I'll search Moonlight Internet Hosting Tool. I'm going to go to the latest release, 5.5 in this case, and I'm going to download the tool right here. Say File, click on the download, open the executable, and this should install the app that I'm going to want to run. in order to begin setting up the hosting on this machine. Alright, and with that, I should see, yep, the Moonlight Internet Streaming Tester app download onto this machine. And so with this download now, I'm going to run it. And this is going to take a little bit, but it's going to check all the settings on the machine and make sure that it's ready, which it should be, for streaming using Moonlight. Alright, the test is completed, and the output dialog from this is a PC address. That's very important. You'll want to copy this down somewhere, or at the very least try to remember it. This is going to be how you tell your Moonlight client what the address is of the PC it should be connected to stream games. And so I'm going to write this down here, and I'm going to go to my local machine and open up my Moonlight client and enter this address. On my local machine, I'm going to want to download the Moonlight client. You can see Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Steam Link. This is the one that I want to download in my case. Once this is downloaded, I will run Moonlight. As you can see here. Now this is open. I want to click on this Add PC icon in the top right, Add PC manually, and I'm entering the IP address of my game stream PC. This is the PC dialog that was output at the end of the Internet Hosting Tool tester that we used on the remote machine. So I'm going to enter the address that I copied down earlier that was outputted from that app. I'm going to press OK, and then I see the PC pop up here, but there's a little lock symbol here, so when I click on it, it'll say please enter 8697 on your game stream PC. This code is going to be particular to your instance when you click on this. I'm going to enter on my remote machine under this prompt here that's just appeared 8697 and hit connect. Now when I click on this again, I'll see our app that we added to GeForce Experience, mstsc.exe. So now when I click on it, it says starting mstsc.exe, and I'm going to give it a few moments. And there we go. I'm connected to my remote machine over Moonlight. Now this is cool, but this isn't gaming just yet. This is just a virtual desktop. First thing I want to do is actually disconnect from my Parsec stream. So I'm going to hit disconnect. And I'm going to go back to my Moonlight stream. And you should remember when we configured the NVIDIA Gaming PC, I selected to have 250 gigabytes of SSD disk space, and the first thing I actually want to do before downloading any games is I want to utilize that disk space by extending my current partition. You can see my C drive is 50 gigabytes, but I have 200 gigabytes of unallocated disk space. So I'm going to right click on the C drive, hit extend volume, follow the prompts. I want to put all of my free disk space into my C drive, hit finish, and there we go. Now that's allocated. Next thing I want to do is just set this machine up like I would if it were any regular PC. I go to Firefox. In my case, I really want to download Steam. Most of my games are on there. So go to download, install Steam. There we go. You can do these steps on your own. You can probably figure this out, but I'll just show you here in case you're worried that there's any extra steps. Alright, now I've got Steam installed. I can download any sort of game I want from my library, so I'll maybe download Borderlands 2. That's pretty fun. So I'll have to wait a little bit for this to install, and I'll come back once this is ready. Alright, now I've got Borderlands installed, so I'm just going to hit play, and at this point it's really like playing any other game on a machine. except this happens to be on my remote machine, streaming using Moonlight. Alright, here I am running Borderlands 2 through Moonlight on GCP. This is on maximum settings at 2560 by 1600 resolution. You can see this all looks crystal clear. You can move around really easily, no noticeable latency on my end. Now, of course, this is a bit of an older game, but I think it's still impressive that I'm running a game maxed out on settings and at what is the native resolution on my MacBook Pro, and it's all running smoothly. I mean, this is really cool because there's no chance I would ever be able to run anything remotely close to this on my own laptop, regardless of whether I boot camped it or not. I just don't have the local hardware to run games at this graphic setting. So the ability to do this is really nice, and this is what cloud gaming grants you. It's just greater accessibility in gaming, and the ability to economically play some games that I otherwise would just not be able to play at all. Now that went over setting up the GCP on Moonlight machine, but there are a couple more things I want to mention regarding maintaining your GCP on Moonlight machine. The first of which is you always want to be sure to stop your machine whenever you're done playing with it, because Google will charge you if you have that machine running all the time, regardless of whether you're playing games on it or not. So if you hit stop, you won't be charged for running time because the machine will no longer be running, and you won't be incurring any charges when you're not playing on it, which is exactly what you would want. Another thing is on Mac, there's something called location services, which you'll want to disable because that does routine work on your machine. And when you're streaming games, you'll notice there'll be a pretty consistent hiccup in the streaming quality, and that's been traced to be a result of location services. So you can disable that by going to System Preferences, Security and Privacy, and clicking on this lock here and just unchecking this box, Enable Location Services, and then locking to save those changes. And if you follow those steps, you should be all set to go with Moonlight on GCP. Let me know in the comments if you have any recommendations on ways that this could be improved or ideas about what I could do in the future, and I'll definitely be sure to take a look. Thanks for watching.